Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be. Welcome to Pro Player Stadium in Miami. A beautiful day in May for the Dodgers as Eran Boca Chica and Marquise Grissom get to gear up. The Dodgers trying to turn a little two-game losing streak around against a very hot Marlin ball club that comes in having won 5 straight, 7 out of 8, and overall 8 of the last 10. The Marlins playing very well, and deservedly so, are 1 game ahead of the pack in the National League in their division. For the Dodgers, still 2.5 games back, and here's the way their lineup goes. Dave Roberts leading off in center field, Cesar Izturis at shortstop, Shawn Green batting third in right field, and Paul Lo Duca will hit cleanup. Then you'll have Eric Karros at first base, Brian Jordan in left field, Adrian Beltre at third, Mark Grassolonic batting eighth, and Kevin Brown on the mound. On the mound for the Florida Marlins, 28-year-old Julian Tavarez. In fact, he'll be 29 on the 22nd of May. He signed a 2-year deal with the Chicago Cubs for $5 million in November of 2000. Started off very well, struggled, lost his spot in the rotation, and was eventually dispatched over here to the Marlins. He is a sinker-slider pitcher, and if he is on his game, he will keep his infield very, very busy. There are those who say he gets more ground balls than any other active pitcher in the league. So Julian Tavarez ready to go to work, and for the Dodgers, Dave Roberts will start it off. Meanwhile, still a lot of spirit in the Dodger dugout. Odalis Perez with Marquise Grissom, Eran Boca Chica, and usually the fellows who do not play have a little ritual they go through. They've already done it, but the place is bubbling as they try to come home a little closer to the top spot. Dave Roberts takes high, ball 1, 1-0. Roberts last night hit a couple of balls right on the button. He lined out to Cliff Floyd in the 6th inning. He takes a strike, but then in the 9th inning, he came up with the bases loaded and looked like he was going to win the game. Looked like he had a triple into right center, and Cliff Floyd made a remarkable catch, and eventually that took the win away from the Dodgers. Roberts, a chopper to the right side. Castillo takes care of it right away, and just like that, 1 down and 1 ground ball. It'll be interesting to see if the Dodgers can get the ball up in the air against Tavarez. The temperature 82 degrees, 67% humidity, and a very light breeze about 15 miles an hour out of the east. Izturis with Green on deck. So the Dodgers, who had a 5-game road streak snapped, are 12-7, and they play tonight and then tomorrow. Last night, A.J. Burnett pitched a very tough 8 innings and eventually did not have a decision. Izturis, meanwhile, goes the other way. Hits a sinker into left field, and the Dodgers get their first base runner as Izturis swinging a good bat. Starts the run with Shawn Green coming up. Green had a tough night. He struck out and singled. He walked and was thrown out at the plate. That was not his fault. It was a remarkable major league play from Floyd to Castillo and then to Charles Johnson. Castillo making a tremendous throw to Johnson. And then Green had trouble with the line drive off the bat of Eric Owens last night, and as he said after the game, he froze. He takes a pitch off the plate. 1 ball and no strikes. Eric Owens hit the ball hard last night anyway. He had 2 walks, 2 stolen bases, and the double, and he scored a couple of times, including the winning run. The 1-0 pitch is down and away, ball 2, and the count 2-0 to Shawn Green. So Green trying to get the Dodgers started. Checks in hitting .252. He has 3 home runs, 21 runs batted in. Tavarez delivers, line drive by the diving Gonzalez into left field. Izturis stops at second. Alex got his glove on the ball, just slowed it down as it went through. So a near miss, and just like that, now the Dodgers have runners at first and second with 1 out. Green taking a sinker, going the other way with it, and it just did elude Alex Gonzalez. So the batter now is Paul Lo Duca. So Lo Duca checking in, hitting .309. He has 2 home runs, 17 runs batted in, and the Dodgers trying to get the jump on the Marlins. The Dodgers had a very glossy record when they scored first, but then they lost a game to Atlanta after scoring first. Last night, the Marlins scored first and won, and a big breaking ball away, 1 ball and no strikes to Paul Lo Duca. His Turris at second, Green at first. We are just starting. The Dodgers trying to snap a little 2-game losing streak. Out of his stretch goes Tavares and deals, and a sinker on the inside corner for a strike. Tavares, 6'2" and 190 pounds, and has certainly been around. He has worked a lot of games. In fact, that could be a contributing factor. About 5 years ago, he was in 89 games. That was a major league high. And when he came over here with the sore shoulder, some people thought he was damaged goods. The next one, a sinker too low. So Lo Duca up there with the count his way, 2 balls and 1 strike. Tavares making only his 4th start of the year. He was on the DL the 17th of April. He's above 500 in his career as a starting pitcher. Tavares, a long look in. He's from Santiago in the Dominican Republic. And the next one is a slow roller to third. On the bag for 1 is Lowell. Throws to first. Double play. So Lo Duca, slow roller right at the bag, and it's a simple 5-3 DP. No runs, 2 hits, a man left. And at the end of half an inning, Dodgers nothing. Marlins coming up. Dodgers failed to score in the first inning despite 2 hits. For the Dodgers, somewhat of a discrepancy. They have hit into 40 double plays now, while churning only 27. So the Dodgers keep getting men on base, and then Jim Tracy has to sit there and watch as the opposition turns 2. Talking about the opposition, here's the way the Marlins will stack up tonight. Leading off at second base, Luis Castillo, then his partner around the bag, Alex Gonzalez at short, Preston Wilson in center, and Big Cliff Floyd in right. Mike Lowell is at third, Derek Lee at first, Eric Owens playing for the injured Kevin Millar, who probably will be out another week. Then Charles Johnson and the pitcher Julian Tavares. On the mound for the Dodgers, Kevin Brown. And for Brownie, at 37, he'll be making his 93rd appearance in a Dodger uniform. He has a lifetime record of 4-2 against the Marlins. Last year, almost on an anniversary, the 7th of May, he pitched an 8-inning shutout, allowing only 2 hits and striking out 10. So we'll see how he goes tonight, making his first pitch to Luis Castillo, and it's a little high, ball 1, 1-0. Castillo has hit in 3 straight, 4 of the last 5. Hit 1 inside out for a bloop base hit to win the game last night. Castillo looks at another pitch high, ball 2 in the count, 2-0. But the play that caught everybody's eye last night, besides the great running catch of Cliff Floyd, was Castillo's relay to get Shawn Green at the plate. That was a thing of beauty. The 2-0 pitch on the way, and that's high. Ball 3, 3-0. Castillo, in his leadoff role, has walked 16 times this year, but he has struck out 26. But he immediately has the count his way. Brown ready. Now the 3-0 pitch, and that's a strike, and the count 3-1. As far as the Marlins are concerned against Brown, Derek Lee has a home run against him, but Castillo has given him a bad time, hitting .429. He runs to bunt, lays it down. Beltre can't barehand it, and Castillo is aboard with a bunt single. So Beltre, who can make that play 9 out of 10, couldn't handle it this time, trying to angle his body, barehand the bunt, and throw all in one place. So Castillo now with a bunt single has hit in 4 straight, and immediately Brown has to pitch out of the stretch. The Marlins, a ball club that has won 20 games, so have the Dodgers, and the schedule for the Marlins will pit them up against 8 of the next 12 games versus ball clubs with at least 20 wins. They have the Dodgers, then the Giants with 22, and they also have 3 with the Reds, who have won 20. The pitch in for a strike to Alex Gonzalez, and the count 0-1. Gonzalez, the opposite of Castillo, he is 1 for 12 against Kevin Brown. That's less than a buck. So the shortstop waiting at the plate. Castillo at first base has stolen 14 bases, so Brown has to worry about that. And the fastball is low, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Castillo has stolen 14 out of 17. So bottom of the first inning, no score. Alex Gonzalez in 9 games in May hitting only .129. He had a very good April. He had better than .260, and he is 0 for his last 16. Now the 1-1 pitch, side armor in for a strike as Brown dropped a little and angled by way of third base, and the count 1-2. Brown throwing in the 80s in the early going here. We haven't seen him really cut loose with a fastball. On deck, Preston Wilson. Kevin said a look over at Castillo, still checking him, still looking. Now to the plate with a fastball foul back, and the fastball at 91. So Alex Gonzalez, an erratic player, sometimes very good, good enough to be on the All-Star team, and then bad enough to have everybody down here angry with him, thinking that he did not exactly give it his all. The infield for the Marlins has done a very good job defensively. Here's the 1-2 pitch, runner going, fouled at the plate. So Castillo going down, seemed to limp and hurt himself a little bit, and it's somewhere below the knee, and he kind of flexes his right leg a little bit as he goes back. He turned on the moist infield and looked like he was looking back, hit and run, and then suddenly slowed up, and when he first slowed up, his right leg went straight and he became a little gimpy. All right, Luis back to the bag. 1-2 the count. Castillo takes his lead. Gonzalez waiting, Brown watching. He's not going, and the pitch is lined to right. Green going back, reaches up, and it's over his head against the wall. Castillo running on a bad leg will stop at third on a double by Alex Gonzalez, and Kevin Brown in trouble right at the outset. So Castillo is still hurting over there at third. Last night he had that long double over Green's head where he froze. It wasn't the case this time. It was a right-hand hitter who just hit it over his head. He tried to go back and get it but couldn't do it. And just like that, Gonzalez on that gimpy leg, when the ball cleared Green, he went to third, and he wasn't going to go any more than that. And they are working on him right now. So they are meeting at third base to see. Jeff Torborg is talking to him along with the Marlin trainer, and Castillo said he's okay, he'll stay in. So the Marlins trying to win 6 in a row, and they have runners at second and third with nobody out, with Wilson, Floyd, and Lowell coming up. Castillo playing in his 35th game, 35 out of 36. So he has been extremely valuable in his leadoff role. And now the batter is Preston Wilson. Wilson, the right-hand hitter, batting .255, 4 home runs, 22 runs batted in. Fleet-footed center fielder, Mookie's boy, up there with first base open. Brown delivers, fastball dropped at the plate by LaDuca, not fouled, and the count 0-1. That was 92. So Brown starting to throw a little bit harder now with Preston Wilson at the plate. Preston Wilson, a little 4-game hitting streak. It's the second time this year he had that, hitting just over .350 during the stretch. Strike 1 pitch over the top, but it's down and away, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. So Wilson has been a strikeout hitter, and he, to no one's surprise, leads the Marlins with 40 strikeouts this year. One year it looked like for a while he was going to break the record, but he just did get by and avoid it. Now the pitch to Wilson is swung on and missed, and the count 1-2. It was back in the year 2000. Preston Wilson struck out 187 times, but last year only 107. And it was interesting when the Marlins played the Arizona Diamondbacks. They faced Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling, and Wilson did not strike against either man. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Brown deals inside and low, and the count 2-2. So if you joined us late, the Dodgers had 2 base hits, but LaDuca hit into a double play. Castillo a bunt single. Gonzalez doubled him to third. Nobody out. And a 2-2 count to Preston Wilson. Brown ready and deals. Bad pitch, fouled at the plate. He just did get a little bit of it. It was out of the strike zone and heading down towards the left-hand hitter's box. And LaDuca, who was set off the plate anyway, just couldn't quite get it. So Wilson is still there. 2-2 the count. Giants Montreal scoreless in the second inning. Arizona at Philadelphia, no score in the first inning. The second and third, nobody out in the first inning. Brown pitching from the stretch, looks in to get a sign from LaDuca. The outfield, if anything, gapped, and the pitch to Wilson is a high foul ball that'll go up third and well back in amongst the customers. When you say customers down here, of course, that's all part of the story. The Marlins are averaging 9,000 a game. Last night they had 12,953. And of course the big story is, will the fans come if they win, and will they stay here? And all of it up in the air. 2-2 the count to Preston Wilson. Brown again set at the belt. Kevin ready and deals. Fastball got him swinging. So Wilson strikes out. 1 out. 92-mile-an-hour pitch in on the hands. So Wilson goes down, and now Cliff Floyd, who was certainly last night's hero. The big guy struck out a couple of times, had a meaningless base hit, but he made a couple of wonderful plays. He one-handed a drive in right field off the bat of Dave Roberts. He made a one-hand long running catch against Roberts with the bases loaded, and he made a great relay towards the plate to get Shawn Green. Cliff swings, fouls it back, and the count 0-1. So Floyd, who showed you he is more than just a hitter, when he sprinted to cut off what looked like a double and got it to Castillo, Lewis made the perfect throw to Cliff Johnson, and that nailed Shawn Green. And then he saved the game on the ball hit by Roberts. He had to run a mile and reach up, made the play. He has extremely long arms. And of course Jim Tracy managed him at Harrisburg in the minor leagues. Breaking ball in for a strike, and the count 0-2. And after the game last night, Tracy was saying Cliff is one of the few players who could have caught Dave Roberts' drive because of his extremely long arms. And Cliff was saying before the game he is only now learning how to run. Strike 2 pitch on the way, high, ball 1. Roberts said, Cliff Floyd said, I used to run with my gloved hand in the air trying to catch the ball. Now I have learned to run with my hands at my side and then reach up and make the play, and it was all the difference in the world last night. Big story down here. They think the high-priced Cliff Floyd will wind up with the Yankees by the 31st of July. The 1-2 pitch low at his feet, and the count 2-2. They feel that he's eligible for free agency next year. They will not be able to pay him the price that he should demand, would demand, and could demand. And if they let it go to free agency, the Marlins said will only get a draft choice, so they think he'll be gone. The pitch to Big Cliff, a half swing fouled away, and that took a bite out of LaDuca. So LaDuca's shaken up on that foul ball, and the count stays 2-2. The other night in Atlanta, Paulie took a mean whack across the back of his left hand, and of course he keeps one finger exposed out of the mitt, but he was able to continue. That thing went off his mitt on the foul ball and got him just above the left knee, so he'll have to walk it off. The shin guards are just so effective. So Paulie, well protected, but it always seems to find a piece of you, and he's back in a crouch, and the count 2-2 to Cliff Floyd. Mike Lowell on deck. First base open, 1 out. Brown deal, swung on and missed. Breaking ball down and in, and Floyd strikes out. So 2 down as Brown bows his neck and tries to work his way out of the jam. Boy, there was a lot of break on that pitch too, and it was well out of the strike zone. So Brown strikes out 2, and now the batter is Mike Lowell, and Lowell 1 for 6 in the past against Brown. a red-hot hitter. Lowell batting .364. He leads the National League and ranks second in the majors with his average. And Brown deals fastball that sinks low and inside, ball one. So a bunt single by Castillo, a double to right by Gonzalez, and Brown turns right around to strike out Preston Wilson and Cliff Floyd. Lowell being chased by Danny Bautista, 1 point back of him, and then Sammy Sosa. The 1-0 pitch is inside, ball two, 2-0. On deck, Derek Lee. First base open. Derek Lee is hitting 105 against Kevin Brown, but he is the only man in the lineup with a home run in the past against Kevin. So let's see. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Mike Lowell. Big breaking ball off the plate. So I really don't think Kevin wants much of him. Not with first base open. So 3-0 the count. Kevin again looks down as if they're pitching to Lowell, but he hasn't come close to throwing a strike. Second and third, 2 out. First inning, no score. And the fastball is off the plate, ball 4. So it might not be called an intentional walk, but he certainly didn't intend on pitching a strike. And here comes Derek Lee. Derek Lee, the big first baseman, has 3 grand slams. He's had 2 against Pittsburgh, 1 against Philadelphia, hitting .237 with a modest 4-game hitting streak. During that 4-game streak, however, Lee has really been hot, hitting .500. 7 for 14. So the bases are loaded. 2 out, first inning. Brown ready. Fastball in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. Lee is 6'5", so he gives you a very good strike zone, among other things. Derek with 42 strikeouts. Pete Bergeron of Montreal leading in that department. Next one is foul back, and the count 0-2. Derek Lee, 42 strikeouts, 18 walks, but if you make a mistake, he has a half a dozen home runs and 22 runs batted in. No score, bottom of the first inning. Tavares worked out of a jam by getting LaDuca to hit into a double play. Brown is in a jam, and he's trying to get Lee and get out of a bases loaded spot. 0-2 the count to Derek Lee. Brown set, ready, and deals very high. A fastball that made LaDuca come up out of the crouch. And the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kevin working hard, 31 pitches here in the first inning. Hideo Noma made 38 the other night in the first inning in Atlanta. Next one is swung on and foul back. So Derek Lee is still there. Lee last year had 21 home runs, 15 of them against right-hand batters. This is his 4th full year. Well, make it now the beginning of his 5th in the big leagues. And he was a slow starter. He had only 5 home runs last year by the middle of June, and then wound up with 21. He's got Castillo, Gonzalez, and Lowell out there. And the next one is swung on and missed. What a performance by Kevin Brown. With second and third and nobody out, he strikes out Wilson and Floyd, walks Lowell, and strikes out Lee. And at the end of an inning, no score. Say a reminder, the Dodgers return home Monday night to open up a 7-game homestand against the Mets in Montreal. And all fans in attendance Tuesday, May the 14th at 7:10 will receive a free collectible poster featuring Steve Garvey, courtesy of the Los Angeles Times. The Dodgers, with a record of 12-7 on the road, they are a break-even 8-8 at home. And in the second inning, Eric Karros, followed by Brian Jordan, and then Adrian Beltre. Eric Karros, so angry last night that he was kicked out for the first time since 1993. And the first pitch to Eric is in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. Bill Hone kicked him out in 1993. And last night it was a combination of Eric Cooper and Mike Riley, with Cooper giving him the thumb. The pitch down and away. Well, Riley is now the plate umpire, and Cooper's at third. It was on a check swing, a pitch in the dirt. And we can give you part of it anyway. The 1-1 pitch to Karros is taken low, ball 2, 2-1. He was talking at Mike Riley. And he said, "That's fertilizer. That's fertilizer, not your fertilizer." Cooper thought he said "your fertilizer" and kicked him out of the game. 2-1 the count to Karras. As Eric said, I've been in the league long enough to know you don't say "your." That's should be okay. 3-1 pitch to Eric Karras. Sinker, pull foul outside of third, and the count 3-2. So Karras at the plate, followed by Jordan and Beltre. Eric hitting .296 with 2 home runs and 12 runs batted in. Tavares, both feet on the rubber, looks into Johnson. Now Julian delivers. Breaking ball. It stayed way inside. Ball 4. So Karras opens up with a walk. And the starting pitchers now for Tavares. He had 2 base hits against him and survived. Brown loaded the bases but struck out the side. And now the batter is Brian Jordan. Jordan will have good games. He'll have bad games. And last night was just a bad game. And he'd be the first guy to admit he had some terrible swings on breaking balls and struck out 3 times. Takes a fastball in on the knuckles. Ball 1, 1-0. Jordan hitting .258 with 5 home runs, 15 runs batted in. After a very solid April, he has chilled a bit in the early going in the month of May. Since we turned the corner on the month, he's hitting .200. The 1-0 pitch is swung on, hit in the air, foul down the right field line. That will wind up down in the seats and kicks over into the bullpen of the Marlins, or the fish tank as they call it here. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Brian Jordan. Karras off the bag at first. Derek Lee holding. Tavares a look over there. Now to the plate and again inside. So the fastball at the knees and the count 1 ball now 2. 2-1 to Brian. And on deck Adrian Beltre. Dodgers had success. They won 5 out of 7 and 3 out of 4 against the Marlins here last year. But this is a vastly improved ball club. 2-1 pitch is foul back out of play. Another fastball. The fastball was 89 and Brian just didn't get around on it. 2-2 the count. Jeff Torborg, who had a great career with the Dodgers, just the beginning of a wonderful career, now at the helm of the Florida Marlins. Checking lineups and possibilities. Meanwhile, 2-2 the count to Brian Jordan. Back comes Tavares and is a little weak foul behind the plate. Charles Johnson is there and puts it away. Boy, that was a really slow bat speed of Brian Jordan trying to time a breaking ball, and he just nudged that one. So he is fooled. Half swing, pops it up. Johnson has to get out around Mike Riley. He still has some room, however, and makes the play. So 1 out, Karras holding, and the batter will be Adrian Beltre. The infield of Lee and Castillo, Gonzalez and Lowell, and there'll be a lot of heat on them tonight. Whenever Tavares pitches, normally ground balls, and the first pitch is high, ball 1. Castillo has 3 errors, and we can see that Paul LaDuca has that left hand completely wrapped. You know, that foul ball, he was hit by a bat on that hand, and he has also been shaken up by a foul ball tonight. The 1-0 pitch way inside. Beltre just did get out of the way of it, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. Kind of a running fastball that chased him away. The infield had been boasting the fact they had only made 2 errors in each position. However, Castillo has made 3 now, but nevertheless they have been doing very well defensively. 2-0 pitch is foul back and the count 2-1. The Dodgers are doing very well defensively. In fact, if you just took the cream off the top, you would think the Dodgers are in first place. The cream being they've committed the fewest errors in the major leagues. Starting pitchers rank first. Major leagues. Pitching staff ranks first. Bullpen 13 out of 14 opportunities. Now the 2-1 pitch is swung on a big chopper to Lowell. He goes down to Castillo. The turn is high, and it would not have been in time anyway. So it's a force play, 5-4. Ball really not hit hard enough for the Marlins to turn 2. So with 2 down and Beltre at first base, the batter is Mark Grasolonic. Grasolonic in last night's game 0 for 3 with a walk. He got a walk in that wild 9th inning, batting .241. No score, top of the 2nd inning. Each starting pitcher in a lot of trouble in the 1st inning. LaDuca grounded into a double play to end the Dodger threat, and Brown struck out the side. And the pitch to Grasolonic high, ball 1. In the bottom of the 1st, Luis Castillo had a bunt single. Gonzalez doubled him to 3rd. Wilson struck out. Floyd struck out. Brown walked Lowell, I think, on purpose, and then struck out Derek Lee. But Kevin made 33 pitches. Tavares delivers, and that runs down and in. So he's behind now to Grasolonic. 2 balls and no strikes. Kevin Brown on deck. So the veteran Tavares making a start, trying to get well and get back off the DL. And his 2-0 pitch on the way. Does a lot of fidgeting and gripping and re-gripping the ball in his glove, and gets one over for a strike, and the count 2-1. Basically fastball slider with the occasional breaking ball. And Tavares staring in. Charles Johnson wigwagging a couple of signs out to him. Beltre standing on the bag at first, and the pitch, a big chopper down to short. Gonzalez takes it to the bag, and that's it. No runs, no hits, a man left, and at the end of an inning and a half, no score. Dodgers home Monday night against Mike Piazza and the Mets, followed by Vladimir Guerrero in Montreal. And individual tickets are on sale. You can pick them up at the Dodger box office Monday through Saturday. Give us a call, 323-2241-HIT, or you can also check our website at Dodgers.com. Bottom of the 2nd inning, no score. Some clouds gathering, but no threat of rain, I don't believe, as we move into the 2nd inning, with Eric Owens followed by Charles Johnson and then Julian Tavares. The word on the street down here is when Kevin Millar comes back and he's a sore side, that Owens could very well leave the ball club. He takes high, ball 1, but he is having a very solid year, hitting .299 with a home run and 11 runs batted in. He makes $2 million, and that's very important with this franchise, the way things have been going. He hits a hopper to Beltre in the lights, but Adrian stays with it, throws him out. Owens, they say, could conceivably wind up in Detroit, where Dave Dombrowski calls the shots, but we'll see. 1 away, Beltre made a tough play look easy. And the batter now will be Charles Johnson. Johnson has not been hitting. Last year, he threw out better than 40% of all the runners. So he is worth a lot, but the question is he worth as much as they're paying him? He takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Charles, a Floridian from Fort Pierce, just about 15 miles south of Vero Beach, and signed a $35 million contract. Brown delivers a drive to right, but Green is there. Sean waits and puts it away. So we have 2 down in the 2nd inning, and Brown could use an easy inning because he made 33 pitches in the 1st inning. And the batter now will be Julian Tavares. So Tavares coming up. A reminder tomorrow, it'll be Ryan Dempster and Tadeo Nomo, and radio and TV, Fox Sports AM 1150 and Fox Sports Net 2 on television. Brown ready and deals, and the pitch, a sinker off the plate. 1 ball and no strikes. Tavares has never been considered a good hitter, but he does have 1 hit this year. Pretty good bunter. Looks at a strike, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Brown is throwing in the neighborhood of 91, and he's been as high as 92, but it's only the 2nd inning. The 1-1 pitch on the way, that's a strike, and the count 1-2, and that one was 93, so he's gone up the ladder a little bit. No score, bottom of the 2nd inning. Brown ready, back he comes, and it is waved at and missed. That takes care of Tavares. 4 strikeouts for Kevin Brown, and at the end of 2, Marlins nothing, Dodgers nothing. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with low fares. By your local Lexus dealer, a new world of luxury. By Aflac, ask about it at work. And by SBC Pac Bell, we're on it. A beautiful evening in Florida, particularly down around the Miami area. And we go to the third inning, no score in the ball game. Paul LaDuca's left hand has to really be bothering him. And I think it's the result of being hit by a swung bat when we're in Atlanta. So he keeps it wrapped, as you can see. I assume it's a heating pad. So there are two bad hands in the Dodger deck. Remember, Sean Green was hit by Tommy Glavine. Kevin Brown will start it off. Then Dave Roberts, Cesar Izturis. Interesting to see if the first pitch is a strike or not. And it is. The 8 previous batters, only one was started off with a strike by Taveras, and that was Eric Karros. Taveras has made 32 pitches up to now. And a little breaking ball that drops in there nicely. 0-2. Brown pretty good with the stick, 4 for 9. Chase that one in the dirt, scooped up by Johnson. Balls in play, out recorded at first. That's the first strikeout for Taveras, and the batter will be Dave Roberts, who's going to consume a little time to let Kevin get back to the dugout. Roberts grounded out in the first inning. Dave 0 for 1. Roberts 1 for 9 on the road trip, but you had to see the balls that he has hit right on the button that wound up in somebody's glove. So he's actually been swinging a much better bat than that would indicate. Coming off a homestand that saw him hit .500. That's a strike. 0-1. One thing about the Marlins, apparently, you certainly don't want to get involved with them in one-run games here. The Marlins have been particularly tough in one-run games. And the Dodgers found out last night about Jeff Torborg. They have won 9 out of 13, and Jeff's club has won 7 out of 8 here at Pro Player Stadium. Off speed, and Roberts laid off it. 2-1 the count. The Marlins hit more home runs on the road than they do because this is a very, very spacious ballpark. Drag bunt foul back. Cliff Floyd has a dozen home runs. He has more than anybody else, but they only have 15 home runs at home. 24 of them hit on the road. Mike Lowell swings a hot stick. He has a half a dozen. Derek Lee has a half a dozen. Those are the big 3 in home runs for the Marlins. 2-2 pitch. Down goes Roberts. Looked like a straight change, but suddenly it just dropped. So that's the second strikeout for Julian Taveras. Big high leg kick, and then a lot of late action on it. So 2 down. And the batter, Cesar Izturis. Izturis just went the other way and had a base hit in the first inning. After a red hot April, he has chilled a bit. That's a strike. 0-1. And off speed, pulled to right. Floyd on the dead run and can't get it. It's off his glove. Izturis is to second base, and he will hold there. Cliff Floyd shook himself up last night running after a ball. Gave it his best shot. He was shading Izturis a little bit more towards right center. Tried to come back, and Cesar pulled it. And the big guy got his glove on it, but the heel of the glove, and he just couldn't hold it. So it'll be a double for Izturis. And the batter now, Sean Green. So Cesar is Suarez, 2 for 2 tonight, and Green trying to pick him up. No score. Suarez now has 12 doubles. Green's left hand is heavily taped. You can't tell with a batting glove on, but it is. Ball 1. The result of Tommy Glavine nailing him on the knuckles. As Sean says, it hurts, but he can make a fist, and if he can make a fist, he can grip the bat. 1 ball, no strikes. And that's popped up. Gonzalez angles out. Coming in is Owens with the easier play. That's it. No runs, 1 hit, a man left at second. So the Dodgers building a little picket fence. They've left a man each inning as Floyd comes in. No score. Don't forget our upcoming schedule now. Tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Net 2 at 10:05. Then the Dodgers come home. 3 nights at Dodger Stadium with the New York Mets. All of them covered right here. Fox Sports Net 2. Every Dodger game, of course, on Fox Sports AM 1150 with Ross Porter and Rick Monday. On KWKW 1330 AM, Jaime Jarin and Pepe Iniguez providing the Spanish commentary on the secondary audio program. We go to the 3rd. No score in the ball game. Now Kevin Brown did a complete about face. He made 33 pitches in the 1st inning and only 8 pitches in the 2nd inning. So we'll see what he does now with the top of the order. And line to left. Coming up is Jordan and makes the play. So Castillo, who had bunted for a base hit, is out only because of a good defensive play by Brian Jordan. That's the tough play for the outfielder. The line drive sinking at him, and he went down and got it. So a good play by Brian Jordan. Takes a base hit away from Castillo. Now Alex Gonzalez, who doubled over Green's head in the 1st inning. Ball 1. Alex 1 for 1, batting .234. Line drive at Izturis, and that thing was stung. So thanks to some gloves, there are 2 outs as opposed to having runners at 1st and 2nd. So Jordan and Izturis combined, and the batter will be Preston Wilson. Wilson struck out in the 1st inning. That gave him 41 strikeouts to lead the club, but he is also an extremely dangerous hitter, as you know. Preston earlier this year scored from 1st on a pop fly single. Of course, he had to wipe out catcher Paul Bacco, but he did, and he is hit by the pitch. So with 2 out, Wilson takes one for the club. That is the 6th time that Preston Wilson has been hit by a pitch. Craig Biggio, to my knowledge, is the only player in the league to have hit more times than Preston Wilson. Biggio has been hit at last count 8 times. Cliff Floyd has been hit 5, and now Wilson has been hit 6, and here comes Floyd. 2 out, Wilson at 1st, and Big Cliff checking in. Struck out in the 1st inning. Oh, and 1 the count. Floyd, a dozen home runs, has struck out 28 times along the way. Ground ball wide of 3rd. Beltry can't throw to 2nd, so he goes over to Karras. So no runs, no hits. A good play by Brian Jordan and a good play by Cesar Izturis, and that keeps it scoreless at the end of 3. Remember our Aflac trivia question: what former Dodger was the Marlins' first ever opening day starter? Well, we'll give you the answer in a little while. Julian Tavares will pitch to Paul LaDuca, Eric Karros, and Brian Jordan. LaDuca with that bad left hand, as we now know for sure since he keeps it wrapped. So it's got to be a little tough gripping the bat. Charles Johnson indicating location, and sure enough, it's away. 1 ball and no strikes. LaDuca, a base hit to right field last night to drive in a run, and a base hit to center to drive in the others. So bad hand or no, he drove in 2 of the 3 Dodger runs. It was his base hit to right field in the 6th inning last night that eventually led to the great relay that got Sean Green and prevented the game from being tied. Little ground ball to third. Lowell gets rid of it and pulls Derek Lee off the bag, and Lee hurts his hand, and I'll tell you who can relate to that immediately. Cliff Floyd. Derek Lee reaching to tag the runner. Cliff Floyd had his hand shattered on a similar play in Montreal, and Floyd was out a while, but now it looks like, well, let's double check him. Here's Lowell. I thought it was the tag that made the glove fly off. Maybe it was something else. I have to believe that it's it, the hand and the wrist. Cliff Floyd, people thought his career was over when that happened to him in Montreal, reaching in to get the runner at the expense of the left hand. Hooked him right on the hip, and he couldn't hold on to it. He might get away cheaply enough. They're going to give Mike Lowell an error because he threw the ball into the runner. And the Marlins hoping that Derek Lee is okay, but that really had to hurt. And I guarantee you, human nature, Floyd is feeling it out there in right field. I mean, Cliff's mind immediately going back, oh yeah, I can remember that. I can remember what happened. Floyd went on the disabled list with a fractured left wrist. It was 7 years ago on May the 16th when he tried to tag a runner, and for the rest of that year we saw him wearing almost a bird cage on his hand. Well, Derek Lee trying to bite the bullet and hopefully is okay. So LaDuca's aboard on the error charge to Mike Lowell. Eric Karros. Strike. 0-1. Eric walked in the 2nd inning. Was as mad as we have ever seen Eric on the field last night. I mean, he had to really be restrained by the coaching staff and Jim Tracy. He was mad enough to really get himself in a lot of trouble, and they bailed him out. All over really a misunderstanding. 0-2 the count. Brian Jordan to follow. Eric leading the Dodgers on the road, but the Dodgers still showing a poor power pack. You look at those who are supposed to hit some, and they're just not. And that goes all the way to the backstop. So LaDuca goes to second on a wild pitch. When you look at a ball club, the power positions certainly are first and third, left and right. For the Dodgers, if you look at first and third, Karros has 2 and Beltray has 2. So that's 4 home runs. Then if you look to Jordan, he has 5. That's a total of 9. And if you took to Green, that's 3. That's 12. So in the power positions for the Dodgers, they have 12 home runs. Cliff Floyd in right field has 12. That's a base hit on a breaking ball. LaDuca had to wait, so he can only go to third. So an error, a wild pitch, and a single to left. And the Dodgers now with runners at first and third and nobody out. And Brian Jordan, the batter. Jordan fouled out in the 2nd inning. No score. We're in the top of the 4th inning. The Dodgers trying to get the drop on the Marlins. Fastball, ball 1, 1-0. Every fastball that Taveras makes, it moves. I mean, he has not throwing anything straight. It was the breaking ball that Karras hit. However, for Jeff Torborg, there is a concern now. Coming off the DL, Taveras has made 51 pitches, and we're in the 4th. So he's behind a Jordan 2-0, and you know Jeff is concerned. No runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 2 hits, and an error for Florida. LaDuca at third. Karras at first. 2-0. Ball 3, and that thing really sinking. That was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. If you go after it, you're going to hit a ground ball to an infielder. So Jordan showed a little discipline to lay off it, and Adrian Beltre waits his turn. 3-0 to Jordan. Almost hit him, and that's going to load him up. So Taveras is in a jam. An error, a wild pitch, a base hit, and a walk. And with the bases loaded and nobody out, Adrian Beltre coming up. Beltre has 2 slams. The last time was in Colorado 2 years ago. He hit it against Kevin Jarvis. So bases loaded, nobody out in the 4th inning. No one throwing, however, in the Marlin bullpen. The infield is back for double play, so they'll give up a run if they can get a couple of outs. Sinker, strike. 0-1. That was 92 as LaDuca stands at third. Karras at second. And Jordan at first. Beltre 2 home runs, 12 runs batted in. He's 0 for 2. Busted bat and a foul ball down into the bullpen. So that thing was shattered and winds up in the pen. Pretty severe sliver going down towards LaDuca. You have any idea what a baseball bat costs? Big league bat? Either $37 or $47 a bat, depending upon the player. A lot of dough. 0-2 to Beltre. Sinker got him, and he chased it, I believe, out of the strike zone. Third strikeout for Taveras, and that was down and dirty. Of course, that's Taveras. When you come up there, you know you're going to get sinkers or a breaking ball, a little slider. Oh, that bat's done. And the batter, Mark Grassolonic. Grassolonic hit into a force play in the 2nd inning. He has 1 grand slam. He hit it last year in Houston. LaDuca, Karras, and Jordan out there. And did that get him? Just missed him. Ball 1. So, of course, Taveras, you can't just live on 1 pitch. It's good to have the sinker, but the hitters try to crowd the plate, try to take it the other way. And Taveras had to get him off the plate. 1 ball and no strike. Home plate. The decision, mine. The battle between the pitcher and the hitter. Sinker, nice block by Charles Johnson. But now 2-0 with LaDuca at third, Karras at second, and Jordan at first. 1 out. Grassolonic with Kevin Brown on deck. Hard ground ball inside the bag and down the line. In comes LaDuca, Right behind him is Karras. Here comes Jordan, and holding at second base is Grassolonic. Eric Owens just could not come up with the ball cleanly, and the Dodgers get 3 in a hurry. So Grassolonic doubles inside the bag at third, and the Dodgers take a 3-0 lead. Sinker, and it didn't sink much, and he pulled it. So the Dodgers capitalizing on the error and pick up the additional run. So 3-0 Dodgers. Grassolonic at second with a clutch double, and the batter is Kevin Brown, who struck out in the third inning. And that's inside, almost hit him on the foot. Ball 1. So Karras is home with a run. LaDuca is in there with a run, and Jordan also scored thanks to a double from Mark Grassolonic. So he picks up 3 RBIs in a hurry to give him 14. Still only 1 out. First thing LaDuca did after scoring was to get that pad from Stan Johnson, and Johnson will apply it to his left hand. Or will he? No. Well, he's going to put the shin guards on. 2-1 to Kevin. Now that the shin guard is on, we'll see if, yep, they're going to wrap that left hand again. 2-1. Sinkers in on the hands, tying him up. That'll keep that left hand warm. I'm sure it was from being hit by the bat when we were in Atlanta. He got a nasty whack across the back of the left hand. 2-2. All right, Brown strikes out. That's 4 strikeouts for Julian Tavares, and the batter will be Dave Roberts. When the Marlins come up in the bottom of the 4th, they have Lowell, Lee, and Owens. This is game 2 of the 3-game series, and the Dodgers have done well on the road in series. They have won 5 of 6 series on the road. So they'd like to wind up winning tonight and tomorrow and go home with a little winning streak. Roberts grounded out, struck out, 0 for 2. Lowell up even with the bag, looking bunt. Ball 1. In a moment, we will have some activity in the Marlin bullpen. They're going to get a left-hander up down there. Vic Darrensburg is up. Fouled whack. 1-1 to count. So there's Vic. Tavares, among other things, his pitch count, not just the score. Having been on the DL, they're keeping an eye on him for sure. And there it is. 67 pitches right now, and he's in the 4th inning. Of course, the inning should be over. Instead, a drive into right center. Preston Wilson, Cliff Floyd. It's Wilson. However, Mark Grassolonic pulled one inside third. The Dodgers get rich in a hurry. And at the end of 3.5 innings, Dodgers 3, Florida 0. Remember our Aflac trivia question. What former Dodger was the Marlins' first ever opening day starter? Got the answer? Right, Charlie Huff. And he beat the Dodgers, wouldn't you know, with a handful of knuckleballs. Kevin Brown is leading 3-0. Bottom of the 4th inning, Mike Lowell, Derek Lee, and then Eric Owens. That's ball 1. Interesting for Brown, he made 33 pitches in the first inning, dropped that down to 8 in the second, and only 7 pitches the last inning. 2-0. Mike Lowell walked in the first inning. And that missed. So 2-0 the count. Now 3-0. Mike Lowell, once upon a time a top prospect in the Yankee system, but he was acquired in '99 for some minor league pitchers. The crowd getting all over Mike Riley on that pitch, though he's still there. 3-1 the count. One reason he's been leading the league in hitting, he's been getting ahead of the count. Fouled away, 3-2. He's also not missing the pitch when he gets it. And there's one other thing that Lowell has done. Dropped his hands a little bit. They're very quick. He had been trying to do a little too much. Kazashi pitched pretty well last night and got away without a decision. Lowell, meanwhile, strikes out on a sinker down and away. And for Kevin Brown, that would be strikeout number 5. The first 2 batters had base hits against Brown, but he has settled in now. And here's Derek Lee, who almost had a busted hand on that attempted tag of LaDuca. That's a strike. Derek struck out in the first inning. Derek Lee, 6'5", 250. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bumped into the fellow who really did a great job helping Derek Lee with the bat, Atanasio Tony Perez. 1-2 the count. On deck, Eric Owen. Two balls, 2 strikes. Derek Lee had a big year last year. Career highs in 7 offensive categories. Down he goes. So Brown struck out Wilson, Floyd, and Lee in the first inning. Now he strikes out Lowell and Lee. They give him 6 strikeouts. And Eric Owens, who grounded to third, coming up. Kevin Millar, born in Los Angeles, makes his home in Beaumont, Texas, but he has a lot of relatives and friends back home. So we are sending Kevin Millar's best wishes back to the family and friends. And of course, we think of Kevin as he sits in the dugout, sore ribs, muscles in the rib area. And he said before the game tonight, I might be able to play in about a week, and he is just dying to play. Anybody who knows him knows he loves the game. Meanwhile, Eric Owens doing what the good ones do, seizing an opportunity. Owens hitting .295. He has 1 home run, 11 runs batted in. Dodgers lead 3-0. We're in the bottom of the 4th. That's to the screen. So Kevin Brown, with 6 strikeouts, has allowed 2 hits, walked 1, and hit a batter, and leading 3-0. And he strikes out the side again. So Brown has struck out the side twice in 4 innings. He has 7 strikeouts. And at the end of 4, it's 3-0 Dodgers. Say, just a reminder, don't miss the Southern California Sports Report tonight at 10 for highlights of all of today's sports action. We'll have a Dodger postgame report and a whole lot more. The Southern California Sports Report tonight at 10. Well, Julian Chavares did enough, and look at that youngster and her younger sister really enjoying time in the ballpark. And I sure hope you will include your children the next time you come to Dodger Stadium. Chavares is gone. He made 68 pitches in his 4 innings. And now Vic Darensbourg, who is a Los Angeles boy. Vic was born in Los Angeles, went to Westchester High, then went to Lewis and Clark University. One of the things Darensbourg had to be very, very patient. Last year, Florida beat the Pirates in 14 innings, and he got the victory. And that finally broke a very painful stretch for Vic. Meanwhile, his tourist promptly bangs it for his third hit. So the young Dodger shortstop 3 for 3. And all the staff and the manager, all they do when they look at his tourist, they shake their heads. I mean, he is so good and is going to be so great. He's remarkable. And 3 for 3 tonight. Anyway, back to Darensbourg. He had the longest streak of winless appearances at the start of a major league career. 123 games and a record of no wins and 8 losses, and he got the win. That's a strike to Shawn Green. Vic came up in 1998. Wound up the year that he did win a win. He wound up picking up 5 victories. Won 1 last year. 1 ball and 1 strike. Shawn Green, single to left, fly to left. You can see the batting glove, and if you look closely, you might see some of the bandage sticking out beyond the glove, but he's got a bad left hand, and so does the on-deck hitter, Paul Lo Duca. One ball and 1 strike. Darensbourg might have had that long string of not winning as we look at the hands. The eyes have it, but the hands are hurting. 1-2. In December of 2000, the Marlins signed Darensbourg to a 3-year, $2.7 million extension. He had to go on the DL. He had shoulder inflammation last year and a small tear in the labrum. And he pitched for weeks in pain, but didn't tell anybody about it. No surgery, and he's able to bounce back. Little comeback, bobbled. Vic picks it up, throws, and pulled his man off the bag. So it'll be an error charge to Vic Darensbourg, throwing high to a 6'5" first baseman. That's high. So he first missed the opportunity of handling the ball and then just sailed it. And Derek Lee off the bag to glove it. So the Dodgers now have first and second and nobody out. Well, we were talking before about the Florida defense and how well it has played, but tonight Lowell made an error, and that cost a run, and now the error by Darensbourg. Lo Duca hit into a double play, reached on the error by Lowell. Ball 1-0. Interesting for the Marlins, they are 20-15. Last year at this stage they were 15-20. And the one thing that has been consistent at this stage, last in this for Jeff Torborg, the same fielding percentage. Ball 2. These are interesting days in the Marlin book. May 11th and May 12th. 1966, Al Leiter threw a no-hitter for the Marlins and beat the Rockies. Last year, May 12th, A.J. Burnett, a no-hitter against the Padres. Ground ball to Lowell. They get 1. They're going to get 2. So over to third is his tourist, but Paul Lo Duca bangs into the double play around the horn, as they used to call it. 5-4-3. The Dodgers now have hit into 41 double plays, and they have turned only 27. Of course, the very fact that they have not turned a lot of double plays indicates the success of the Dodger pitching. Give an idea about double plays. Dodgers have grounded into 41. The Marlins have grounded into 20. That's all. That's a strike. Karras walked and single to left. 1-0. 1-1, Derek. 2 down, 5th inning. Dodgers leading 3-0. Kevin Brown has struck out 7. Last year he faced the Marlins once, went 8 innings, shut him out, and struck out 10. So he's on the beam through 4 tonight for sure. 0-2 to Karras. Foul back. Tomorrow the concluding game. Ryan Dempster on the mound for the Florida Marlins. The Dodgers will counter with Hideo Nomo. And it'll be right here on Fox Sports Net 2. Dempster 1-3. Hideo 2-4. Foul back. Karras singled, sent LaDuca to third in the 4th inning. Now he's up there with Isturis at third and 2 out. Darrensburg in relief of Julian Tavares. And that's foul the other way. So LaDuca and Grassolonic playing every day, and Grassolonic has the key hit tonight. He doubled with the bases loaded and sent everybody home. Marquise Grissom hoping for a shot, and right now, interestingly enough, LaDuca is not wearing the heat pad on the back of that left hand. 2-2. Foul ball. You know how ball players might be. LaDuca tonight is 0 for 3, has hit into 2 double plays, so he might say, I don't want that heat pad. Meanwhile, let's see if he goes and gets it. Sean Green looks like a boxer the way his hand is taped. High chopper to short. Gonzalez waiting for the hop. No hurry. So despite a base hit and an error, the Dodgers come up empty, and it's time for Kevin Brown to go back to work again. He has struck out 7, and as he goes to the mound, he's leading 3-0. Don't forget now, tomorrow, Nomo and Dempster at 10:05. Dodgers go home to face the Mets. It'll be Perez and Estes, Ashby and Estacio, Ishii and D'Amico at Fox Sports Net 2. All of them at 7:10 against New York. Meanwhile, Arizona winning big against Philadelphia 5-0. Giants are locked up 1-1 with Montreal. Tavares with Darrensburg filling in for him, and Darrensburg looks like he's going to be coming out for a hitter. Marty Malloy is on deck, and that will be an out in center. So Marty Malloy coming up to bat. 1 out, 5th inning. There you can see Kevin Olson throwing down in the bullpen. He'll be coming in. Marty Malloy, not much of a chance to play, and when given an opportunity has had not much of a chance to do anything with it. He is 1 for 12. Strike. So the young pitchers all together, and boy, they can pitch. In the middle, A.J. Burnett. Ground ball to Grassolonic. So Brown is on a roll now. He has not given up a hit since Gonzalez doubled. In that stretch following the double, he has struck out 7, walked 1, and hit 1. And that's it. He has really been in command. He retired 4, 5, 6 in a row when he hit a batter. He has now come back to retire 6 in a row after hitting a batter. And Luis Castillo coming up. The Marlins are building the franchise on the shoulders of those pitchers, with Dempster, Burnett, Penny. That's a strike. 0-1. Castillo a bunt single, and then lined out to left on a diving catch by Brian Jordan. Fouled away. Brown dropping the fastball down a little bit on that last pitch. That was 88. His high 93. And a good sinker takes care of Castillo. 8 strikeouts for Kevin Brown. He has retired the last 7 and walks off leading 3-0. May the 11th, go all the way back to 1963. San Francisco Giants were in first place, and they came to Dodger Stadium. 49,000 went out to see Sandy Koufax against Juan Marichal. The Giants had 3 Hall of Famers in the lineup: Mays, McCovey, and Cepeda. Sandy pitched a no-hitter. Dodgers won at 8-0, went on to win the pennant, and swept the Yankees in the World Series. It indeed was a night to remember. Let's go back and take a look at this one. Jeff Torborg in his time caught 3 no-hitters, 2 as a Dodger. He caught a Koufax no-hitter in '65 and a Bill Singer no-hitter in 1970. He also handled Nolan Ryan. He was a marvelous catcher coming off the campus of Rutgers University. Now he has Kevin Olson in there. Ole picking up with a record of 0-2. The Dodgers with Jordan, Beltre, and Grassolanic. Kevin Olson with an ERA getting close to 5. So he's trying to seize an opportunity to impress. He's from Covina. Kevin Gary Olson by name. Lives in Norco, California. Throws a fastball, a slider, and a changeup, and for that we understand he can thank his parents. There's the changeup fouled away. They tell me that Kevin was 8 years old and his mom took it out in front of the house in Walnut, California, told him to throw a baseball across Avenida del Sol, the street, to his dad. His dad sat on the curb and said, "Just throw to the glove." And that's when he started pitching, at the age of 8, throwing the ball across the street to his father. 2-2 the count. After he threw the ball to his dad, his next drill, they told him to hang a piece of carpet over a jungle gym in the backyard and paint a bullseye. And he had a bucket of balls, and he and his brother would go out there and have a contest to see who could throw the balls to the bullseye. Well, he got a bullseye out on Jordan. 1 away. His older brother, Chris, is an engineer. Kevin chosen in the 26th round of the 1998 draft. And here he is in the big leagues. He was in 4 games for the Marlins last year. When the Marlins traded right-hander Chuck Smith to Colorado, that gave Kevin Olson a big opportunity. And here he is. Adrian Beltre hit into a force play and struck out. He's 0 for 2. Big slow curveball for a strike. 0-1. So it's been Tavares, Darrensburg, and now Olson. We're in the 6th inning with 1 out. And the Dodgers leading 3-0 thanks to a bases clearing double from Mark Grassolanic. Fastball popped up. Mike Lowell and Charles Johnson. Let's see where the ball winds up. In the seats. Meanwhile, Kevin Brown does not have the right arm wrap. He's had that arm wrap after every inning, but not now. He's waiting to go up there and swing the bat. He has struck out twice. 1-2 to Beltre. Fastball hit down to Gonzalez. So 2 down in the 6th inning, and Mark Grassolonic coming up. And Grassolonic is center stage. He was center stage in the 4th inning with the bases loaded. He hit one inside third, all the way down in the corner. Kara scored, LaDuca scored, and Jordan scored to give the Dodgers the 3. He was out in front of that. Had to be guessing fastball and started his swing. Only the fastball was 87, so he was way out in front. 0-1. Off-speed curveball, that big overhand spinner, and he throws that at 77. So Grassolonic in the hole now. No balls and 2 strikes. 3-0 Dodgers, top of the 6th, behind Kevin Brown, who has struck out 8 and allowed 2 hits to the first 2 batters. One and 2. Several players we have shown off to a solid April and cool off in May. For Grassolonic, just the opposite. A slow start, and now very much on the beam. Little foul out of play. I think we have more people here tonight, certainly, than last night. 12,000 last night. And bounce that. That was about 55 feet. The way they look at things down here, and they're only projections, but nevertheless, they look at the payroll at 51 million. And then they look at losses around 30 million. Down goes Grassolonic. So they have a good young ball club, and this time it's Kevin Olson. Sets the Dodgers down, but they're leading 3-0. Bottom of the 6th inning with the Dodgers leading Florida 3-0. A quick look at the scoreboard. Giants in Montreal, that's Jason Schmidt and Tomokazu Oka. Arizona breezing over Philadelphia behind Randy Johnson. Pittsburgh edging Houston. The Mets knocked off Colorado, and we'll see them Monday night. Cincinnati over St. Louis 8-1. And Milwaukee Chicago postponed rain. They'll play a doubleheader on Labor Day. One note, Lance Berkman of Houston hit his 14th home run of the year. That makes him 1 behind Sammy Sosa, who has hit 15. Now let's see about Kevin Brown. And you can see Derek Lee, who hurt that wrist on the tag of LaDuca, and he's wrapped. So Lee has a bad left hand. LaDuca's had a bad left hand. Green has a bad left hand. Time, no pitch. 0-1 the count to Alex Gonzalez. 70 pitches for Kevin Brown going into this inning. Brown has struck out 8. In the 2nd inning, he retired the side on 8 pitches, and in the 3rd and 5th inning, he got them on 7 pitches. Had it not been the 1st inning, he would really be breezing as he picks up strikeout number 9. In the 1st inning, perhaps not quite ready, he made 33 pitches. That was only 4 more than he made in the next 4 innings. And here's Preston Wilson. Wilson struck out in the 1st inning and hit by a pitch. Last time Kevin Brown faced the Marlins last year early in May, and for the only time that year, he struck out 10. Well, he is 9 tonight. Wilson with Floyd on deck. Ground ball. Easy play for Beltre. 2 down. That'll bring up Cliff Floyd. In looking at the Marlins, they have been involved in 4 shutouts. They've won 3 of the 4. But the Dodgers had them right now, 3-0, bottom of the 6th. And big Cliff Floyd struck out, grounded to third. The rumors are so strong here about him leaving and winding up with the Yankees. One day, innocently enough, Jeff Torborg just decided to switch Floyd from left field to right. And immediately everybody said, the Yankees need a right fielder. That's why they're putting Floyd in right field. Jeff said, I can't believe it. I just thought I'd move him. And the next thing you know, got all kinds of ink. He wanted Cliff also to play right because he covers a lot of ground. That's picked by Karras and an out. So they're gone in the 6th inning are the Marlins. And at the end of 6, Kevin strides off in firm control of a 3-0 lead. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by the Mercedes-Benz dealers of Southern California. Nothing beats a Mercedes-Benz. By SBC Pac Bell, we're on it. And by Pennzoil, we're driving protection. We go to the 7th inning at Pro Player Stadium. 3-0 Dodgers. Kevin Brown will start it off. Hoisted on his own petard, cut by his own sword. He has 9 strikeouts, and he has struck out twice. Then Roberts and Izturis. 1-1. Since 2000, the Dodgers have won 12 of the 17 meetings, so they're trying to pick up another one. Breaking ball in there. 1-2 to Kevin. And tries to time it, lifts a fly ball to left. Eric Owens started back and now really has to come in. 1 away. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Dodgers may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express consent of the Dodgers. So Brown, a fly ball to left, 1 away. Gives him a chance to rest. He has retired 10 in a row. And here's Dave Roberts, grounded out, struck out, fly to center. A bunt. Derek Lee is going to pick it up and get him going by, and I think he might very well have been out of the baselines as well. So Roberts tries to drag. Lee gets him, and the batter will be Cesar Izturis, and he has been kind of a one-man band. Single to left field in the 1st inning against Tavares. Pulled one for a double to right in the 3rd inning, and then led off with a base hit to center against Vic Darrensburg. This is the 3rd time this year that Izturis has had a 3-hit game. He does not have a 4-hit game, and I guess we should say yet. One ball and 1 strike. Dodgers leading 3-0, top of the 7th inning. Marlins have Lowell, Lee, and Owens due up in the bottom half. Nubber back to the box. So the Dodgers are out in order. That's 8 in a row retired by Marlins pitching. Kevin Brown, meanwhile, has retired 10 in a row and trying to reel in some more, leading 3-0. Don't forget, the Dodgers come home starting Monday night with the Mets. And when the Dodgers play the Montreal Expos on Friday at 7:10, all fans in attendance will receive an Eric Karras t-shirt. Compliments of Craig and Auto Parts. Eric Karras, 1 for 2 tonight. Meanwhile, Kevin Brown has hooked 10 in a row, striking out 9. He's allowed 2 hits, and they came to the first 2 batters. When the game started, Luis Castillo bunted for a base hit. Alex Gonzalez doubled over Green's head, and that's it. He struck out the side, and he's been on a tear ever since. Doing it suddenly with a minimum number of pitches. You know how many pitches he made in the 6th inning to retire the side? 5. 5. 7 in the 5th inning. 7 in the 3rd inning. 8 pitches in the 2nd inning. So the only inning where Kevin labored at all was the 1st inning when he made 33 pitches. So now here he is in the 7th, right on schedule. Lowell has walked and struck out. 2-2. And chasing that one, foul tip, held by LaDuca. They're talking about whether it was in the dirt or not, and let's see. And Lowell is rung up. Jeff Torborg starts to come out, and then he thinks better of it. Mike is saying to the first base umpire, Kellogg, I fouled it in the dirt. And the first base umpire said no. That's that. The pitch was in the dirt, but it was gloved by LaDuca. So 10 strikeouts. And now a drive in the gap to right center field by Derek Lee, and he might not stop at second. He's on his way for 3. His tourist doesn't have a play. So Derek Lee, who had struck out twice tonight, gets this crowd on his feet with a long triple to right center field. For Lee, that would be his 3rd triple. He has 9 doubles and a half a dozen home runs. So with 1 out, the Marlins get a runner at 3rd. Fastball up, out over the plate, and Lee was not about to let it go by. He becomes the 2nd Marlin to get to 3rd. Castillo reached 3rd in the 1st inning. So with 1 out, here's Eric Owens, grounded to 3rd and struck out. Foul ball, 0-1. Montreal leading the Giants 2-1 in the 6th inning. Arizona leading Philadelphia 5-2 in the 6th inning. And the Dodgers leading here 3-0, bottom of the 7th. 0-1. Little roller up along first base. It's going to go foul. 0-2. So Brown had retired 10 in a row, and then Lee tripled. In fact, going back through the books, he had hit a batter, Wilson, in the 3rd inning. So he had retired 11 in a row. And then the triple, and now here's Eric Owens. No balls, 2 strikes. Meanwhile, Boca Chica, Rebele, Cora wedged in a corner with Matt Wilson, trying to learn something. They're liable to get a call at any time in any game. Tough thing to constantly be at the ready. Ground ball to 3rd. Beltre short hops, holds the runner, and gets it to Karras. So Lee had nowhere to go. A nice play by Adrian Beltre. Now Charles Johnson is coming up. Johnson, in going through the scorebook, is the only starter who has not struck out. So Beltre, a good play, and here's Charles. Flied to right and flied to center. Dodger bullpen as Jesse Orozco and Paul Quantrill up. Sinker in the dirt. Ball 1. This could be the last inning for Brown. It's hard to say. Andy Fox is out on deck to bat for Olson. 1 ball and no strike. Brown has made 85 pitches now. Good breaking ball, so he's still got the stuff. 84-mile-an-hour curveball, and the count 1-1. Dodgers lead 3-0, bottom of the 7th. Derek Lee, a triple, is at third with 2 out. Big chopper wide at third. Beltry is on it. Takes dead aim to Karras, and Brown shuts him down again. No runs, 1 hit, the triple by Lee, and as Kevin walks off, he's still holding on to a 3-0 lead. A reminder, friends, the Dodgers Coca-Cola Family Pack is back. 4 reserve level tickets, 4 Dodger dogs, 4 Cokes, and a parking pass for $39. Available every Sunday and Wednesday home game all season long. Give us a call for information and tickets, 323-224-1HIT. A great way to bring the family to the ballpark. In the Dodger family, Jim Tracy looks like he is saying to Kevin Brown, that's it. Okay, he's made 87 pitches. He's gone 7 innings. That's it. We don't want to take any chances. Strike at the plate. So Brown, who hates to come out, went 7, allowed 3 hits, struck out 10, and just was masterful. And the first 2 batters he faced, he gave up base hits and struck out the side. He struck out Wilson and Floyd. Then he walked Lowell and struck out Lee, and he's really breezed ever since, hitting a batter in the 3rd inning and then finally giving up another hit in the 7th. Sean Green, single flied out, reached on the error for Jim Tracy, sitting with Jack Clark, and they might be trying to analyze Green's swing right now. 0-2 to Sean. On the corner with a slow breaking ball, 76-mile-an-hour curveball. So Green strikes out to start the 8th. Paul LaDuca and then Eric Karros. Dodgers had Quantrill and Orozco down in the bullpen, and Quantrill will probably get the call to pitch the 8th inning. Dodgers have not done anything except the inning in which they scored. They got 3 runs in the 4th inning, a bases loaded double by Mark Grassolani. One of the bigger crowds that they have had here in quite a while. Thursday night they had only 5,000 here. They had 12,000 last night, and tonight, because the Marlins had won 5 in a row, 7 out of 8, 8 out of 10 in first place, they drew 19,767. 19,767. And of course the attendance, like in Montreal, a major part of the story. 1-1. And wouldn't you know, Montreal on their heels. That's a strike. Montreal began the night with a 2-game winning streak and 1 game behind Florida. And Montreal leading the Giants 2-1 in the 6th inning. Tried to golf a pitch down and in, came up empty. So LaDuca and Green strike out against Kevin Olson. And the batter will be Eric Karros. 3 strikeouts for Olson. Eric Karros walked, singled, grounded out, and popped it up. Now let's see, is it Lee all the way? It is. So the Dodgers out quickly in the 8th. Kevin Brown will not go to the mound. Paul Quantrill will, and it's still 3-0 Dodgers. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by Jack in the Box, by MGD, cold filtered for a pure beer, by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with low fares, And by Buick, it's all good. Here in Miami, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning with the Dodgers leading Florida 3-0, and Paul Quantrill now is asked to hold on to it. Quantrill picking up Kevin Brown. 87 pitches, went 7 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 1 walk, hit a batter, and struck out 10. So Kevin repeating his magnificent performance of a year ago when he struck out 10, went 8 and shut out the Marlins. Andy Fox, a handy man to have around, and the count 0-1. So Quantrill quickly out in front of him now. No balls and 2 strikes. Paul Quantrill trying to keep things quiet here in the bottom of the 8th. Andy Fox at the plate was originally selected years ago by the New York Yankees. Played 96 and 97, but never did much. Went over to Arizona and played pretty well, and then came here in 2000. Had a bad year last year, hit only 185. The Quantrill, 2-2 the count. Quantrill came in and worked an inning and 2/3 last night, and that's going to be hit into left field, base hit. So Andy Fox comes off the bench and singles to left as the Marlins try to come back now, and the batter will be Luis Castillo. By the way, we talked about the paid attendance tonight here in Florida, 19,797, and that turns out to be the second largest crowd of the year. They had 23,000 and some opening day, which was a bitter disappointment. 23,877 was the home opener. That's a strike to Castillo. Had a bunt single, robbed of a hit on a diving catch by Brian Jordan, and last time up struck out. Switch hitter, but very good from this side of the plate. Strike. 0-2. Well, Paul had Fox 0-2. 0-2 to Castillo and Alex Gonzalez on deck. 3-0 in favor of the Dodgers, bottom of the 8th. Ground ball to short is Torres, a shovel to Grassolana, guns it to Karras, double play. So the Dodgers turn one their way, having hit into 2 earlier, and the Dodgers get 2. Andy Fox trying to upend Grassolana, and Mark fired the ball just in time. Andy does everything hard, and so does Grassolana. So 6-4-3 double play, and the batter will be Alex Gonzalez. For Castillo, especially hitting left-handed, that's a shock. That is the first double play he's hit into, and that's going to be a flare for a base hit for Gonzalez. So that was a big double play for the Dodgers to turn. 2-out single by Gonzalez brings up Preston Wilson. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Eric Gagne along with Jesse Orosco. Orosco, no doubt, getting ready to pitch to Floyd. But right now, Quantrill is pitching to Wilson, ball 1. Cliff Floyd waiting his turn on deck. And of course, if Wilson gets aboard, then Floyd becomes the potential tying run. Ground ball to Torres, the quick flip, and that's that. No runs, 2 hits, a man left. Nice effort for Quantrill. And at the end of 8, Grassolana playing that gritty second base, and the Dodgers lead 3-0. 9th inning with the Dodgers leading 3-0, but in the first inning, Kevin Brown had to strike out Derek Lee with the bases loaded to get out of a first inning jam. He went on to strike out 10 for the game in 7 brilliant innings. He went 87 pitches, no runs, and a half a dozen hits. With Brown really in command, he gave up 2 hits in the first inning and 1 more hit in the 7th. So a total of only 3 hits given up by Kevin Brown. Mark Grassolonic had a key double to drive in 3 in the 4th inning. And among other things, Cesar Izturis is having a big night. He's 3 for 4. So now Gary Knotts taking over on the mound. It's been Tavares, Darrensburg, Olson, and now Knotts. Gary 2-0, and he'll be facing Jordan, Beltre, and Grassolonic. So what a performance tonight by Kevin Brown. Went a strong 7. Looked like he was really in the soup in the first inning and wound up striking out the side. Struck out the side again in the 4th. So here's Jordan in the 9th. Three runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 5 hits for Florida. Gary Knotts. As they talked about him in spring training, forget-me-nots, fighting for a spot in the Florida rotation. He has pretty much come out of the shadows. He was an 11th round draft pick in 19 out of 5 out of Northwest Alabama Community College. Little ground ball down to Castilla, and he threw a changeup to first, and Jordan almost beat the play. That was a little nonchalant. 1 away. Adrian Beltre coming up. Second base is a luxury as far as the throw, but he just floated it over there. Jordan running hard just did get him. Now Beltre hit into a force play, struck out, grounded out, 0 for 3. Gary Knotts, 25 years old, and a fly ball to left field. Owens, 2 down. The Dodgers have not had a hit since Izturis led off the 5th inning with a single, so they haven't done much with the bat, but nevertheless they're leading 3-0. So here's the man who gave them the 3. Hit into a force play in the 2nd inning and struck out in the 6th, but in the 4th, with the bases loaded and 1 out, he hit one inside 3rd and cleared the bases. Dave Hansen is on deck to bat for Quantrill. They're getting the stage ready for Eric Gagne, and Gary Knotts trying to get the last out. Gagne getting ready. Gary Knotts was signed for, as they say today, a mere $35,000. Big breaking ball. He's 6'3" and 230. Fastball tops out around 94. Big curveball and a good change. Foul ball. When Gary Knotts signed, he weighed 195 pounds, and they call him a weight room warrior. He now weighs 230. You know who signed Gary Knotts to be in the Florida organization? Former Dodger pitcher Bill Singer. Meanwhile, it'll be Cliff Floyd to start it off, followed by Mike Lowell, and then Derek Lee against Eric Gagne. Bienvenue. The stage is set. Bottom of the 9th inning. The Dodgers leading 3-0, and Eric Gagne coming out of the Dodger bullpen to try and shut down the Marlins. For Eric Gagne, he did not work in last night's game nor the day before. He did pitch the 9th inning in relief of Odalis Perez, and if you remember, that inning he was unhittable. He struck out Andrew Jones throwing 97, He struck out Castilla after setting him with a breaking ball at 97, and then he threw 397 fastballs to strike out Wes Helms. It was an inning to remember. Now let's see what he brings to the dance tonight. Cliff Floyd, Mike Lowell, and Derek Lee. Floyd struck out, grounded out, and lined out. And that's a strike. And he starts him 97. The first pitch out of the pen, 97. Floyd is 0 for 3 in the past against Gagne. And that's stroked into right field. So the Marlins trying to come back, and they have done that 6 times this year. 6 times in their last at bat. They have won ball games. So the fish are alive, and here comes Mike Lowell. Mike Lowell walked, struck out twice, but those at bats were against Kevin Brown. On deck, Derek Lee. Lowell is 1 for 5 in the past. That's ball 1. Gagne with an ERA of 1, trying for his 12th save. Brad Onsberg, the pitching coach, and Jeff Torborg in the dugout. Fastball, strike. And that was 97. He hasn't thrown a breaking ball yet. 1-1 to count. They're not holding Floyd on. Breaking ball, fouled away. So he dropped from 97 to an 84-mile-an-hour breaking ball. And the count to Lowell, 1-2. Floyd at first, Karras well behind him. Dodgers lead 3-0. Fastball hit late, still 1-2, and that was 97. Gagne, whatever happens, has the perfect mentality to be a closer. He loves it. Fastball. And so Mike Lowell strikes out a 3rd time. Gagne gets an out. And for Gagne, another thing about him in throwing hard, the strikeouts and walks is amazing. 25 strikeouts and 4 walks. That's all. Now Derek Lee struck out twice, flied out. 11 Marlins have been hooked so far tonight. Fastball. 1-0. Derek Lee with that left hand heavily bandaged when he hurt himself making an attempted tag on Paul LaDuca back in the 4th inning. But it didn't bother him. He came up in the 7th and tripled. Now he has the count his way, 2-0. And on deck, Eric Owens. You'll see the bandage peeking out from under the batting glove. Fastball. Whoa. And that's 97. Either the speed gun is stuck or every fastball has been 97 miles an hour. Two balls, 1 strike. Fastball, cracked bat, foul ball. Lee will have to get another. Even up here you could hear that thing crack. 2-2 the count to Derek Lee. Dodgers 3 runs, 6 hits. Marlins no runs, 6 hits. Gagne trying for his 12th save to give Kevin Brown his 2nd win. There goes Floyd, just outside, ball 3. So an uncontested advancement, no stolen base. 3-2 the count to Derek Lee. Fouled away. Derek Lee, striking out twice tonight, has struck out 44 times. Preston Wilson has struck out 41 times. Full count, 1 out. Fastball, pop foul, out of play. Well, that's a drastic difference. That fastball was 96. The first time he's come down from 97. Cliff Floyd at second base. Single to right. Moved on. The Dodgers did not contest it. 3-2. Eric Owens on deck has 1 home run this year, as he represents the possible tying run. High foul off first, out of play. So he's making a lot of pitches. Floyd hit the second pitch, but then he struck out Lowell, and now he's gone 3-2 to Derek Lee. Jammed him, fouled it back. He has now made 10 pitches to Derek Lee. That's a heck of an at-bat for Derek Lee. Eric Owens playing in place of Kevin Millar, the possible tying run. And Preston Wilson gets up on the top step. Fouled away. 11 pitches to Derek Lee. So this sequence has really gotten the crowd very much into the ball game. It's a great at bat for Lee, and of course for Gagne, he has to keep throwing strikes. 3-2. And it's lifted to right field. It's playable. Green is there. Floyd hanging around second. The catch makes it the second out. So it took 12 pitches, but Gagne finally got rid of Lee. Grant didn't have that much trouble to get rid of Lee. And here comes Eric Owens. So Gagne working on Owens, who grounded to third twice and struck out. The only Marlin who has not struck out tonight is on deck, Charles Johnson. 0 for 3. Everybody else has been hooked at least once. Ball 1. So Eric Gagne trying to lock it up. Eric Owens trying to keep the fish afloat. And it's 3-0 Dodgers in the ninth. Foul back. 1-1. Two out, ninth inning. Floyd at second. 3-0 Dodgers. 1 ball and 1 strike to Owens. Ball 2. That didn't have too much on it. Down and away. It's the slowest pitch that he has made. It was 83. Meanwhile, Jim Tracy sees Gagne miss again. The Gagne now 3-1 on Owens. Charles Johnson, the on-deck hitter, has 1 home run. The only home run he has hit since August of last year. That's a strike. So after that long 12-pitch at bat, that duel with Lee, he comes right back 3-2 to Eric Owens. Got him. Is he something? Eric Gagne comes in and strikes out 2, gives up a base hit and nothing else, gets his 12th save, and hands Kevin Brown his 2nd win. 3-6-0 for the Dodgers. No runs, 6 hits, and 2 errors for Florida. And 1 key swing, the double by Mark Grassolonic that cleared the bases. So the Dodgers win it. Jim Tracy now has split the 2. We'll try to make a series win tomorrow with Hideo Nomo, and we'll be back. Dodgers win it 3-0, and Kevin Brown faced his only challenge head on in the 1st inning, and all he proceeded to do was strike out Preston Wilson, strike out Cliff Floyd, strike out Derek Lee, and he was off to the races. He was our player of the game, striking out 10, picking up his 2nd win of the year. Once again, the final score, Dodgers 3, Marlins 0. For Ross Porter and Rick Monday, this is Vin Scully saying so long from Pro Player Stadium in Miami. For Dodger postgame coverage and all the day's local sports news, don't miss the Southern California Sports Report tonight at 10. We'll see you here tomorrow at 10. Good night, everybody.